As I stated in my Tekken 1 review, the game did a lot of things that became staples and standards for the series, but it wasn't a good game on its own. However, the Tekken formula improved vastly with its sequel, Tekken 2. Developed and published by Namco in 1996, this game was much improved towards its predecessor. It did well both critically and commercially. However, with that being said, is this game still worth playing today? Well, we'll take a look at the graphics, audio, and of course, the gameplay. So let's start this off with the graphics. The first thing you'll notice is that this game is much better looking than its predecessor in almost every single way possible. Compared to Tekken 1, the characters move much smoother than before. Because each character has more frames of animation, fighting looks and feels much more fluid than ever before. Because of this, you look forward to seeing the replay angles in slow motion, seeing how badass the moves are. Along with the character animation and the models, the environments look much better as well. While I admit graphically that the stages were probably Tekken 1's best feature, it has certainly been outshined with its sequel. The textures appear much more realistic and have a much higher resolution than Tekken 1 did. One thing I absolutely love about the game graphically are the Fmv Cutscenes. These cutscenes are simply amazing, and they are certainly worth playing this game multiple times to see everyone's ending. Not only do these endings look great and look much better than the first game in terms of the animation used, each ending helps to flesh out the characters. With each ending, you learn about the relationships that each Tekken character has with each other and their internal struggles that they are facing. It's really cool and one of my favorite parts about Tekken 2. So graphically, this game is much superior to its predecessor Tekken 1. Because of that fact and many of the reasons that I stated previously, this game gets an 8.5 out of 10 for graphics. The character models are certainly much improved from the first, the environments look great, and the lighting effect is very superb. The Fmv cutscenes are also a blast to watch as well. However, with all that being said, this isn't even the best looking Tekken game, and that's why it gets an 8.5 and not a 9 or 9.5 out of 10.
Round 1, fight!
Also, compared to the first game, the sound is much improved. While the announcer in the first game wasn't necessarily bad, the second one outshines him in every single way. He actually appears to be really into it and really enjoying himself, and it also gives an epic vibe to the matches. The music in this game is amazing and I love listening to the soundtrack. Even though I get beat by Paul almost every time I have to face him, I love being on a stage and listening to the music. Just listen.
Hey yo! Round 2, fight!
One issue I had with Tekken 1's audio that really brought the score down for the audio portion of my review was the fact that almost everyone sounded exactly the same. Thankfully, this has been fixed. Every character sounds different and unique in their own way, minus a few exceptions. While I do understand why King and Armor King sound the same, as well as Jack and Prototype Jack sounding the same, I don't understand why Kuma sounds like King. Maybe they needed an animal sound effect, but why get the sound of a tiger? Oh well, it's only a minor issue anyways. For my last comment I'm going to say about the audio, it appears that the audio is much cleaner than it was in Tekken 1. The sound of you hitting another person feels much and sounds much more impactful than the previous game. So overall, the audio gets an 8.5 out of 10. There's very little to complain about when it comes to the audio. While it does have a few hiccups that you will notice during the playthroughs, it doesn't detract too much from the overall score. While the music is great for the most part, a few songs needed a little bit of work. Just like the graphics, this will also be improved in 3. And now we have moved on, finally, to the gameplay. In terms of the combat, nothing revolutionary has been done with this game. It feels relatively the same, the control scheme is also the same as well. However, every single character that has been made has been expanded when it comes to their moveset. Law has a flurry of new moves to try out, as well as the newcomers who are really fleshed out as well. As I said previously, not too many things have changed. There's no true sidestep. However, characters move more in a 3D environment, since if you're on the ground, characters can roll out the way, as you've seen here. This adds uniqueness to the game and really fleshes it out and makes it more of a 3D fighter rather than just having 3D characters playing in a 2D plane. The difficulty of this game is fair, but it's challenging. It's not cheap like in Tekken 1. This time, it takes actual skill instead of just pure random luck or chance if you're going to win. One of the biggest additions in my eyes and improvements that they've made to the game is the fact that they actually have a move list as you're fighting. You can pull this up at any time to check the moves and then execute them on the spot. This is very helpful since in arcade mode you don't have much time to get used to the characters. However, you can just pause it, look at the move list, check a couple of combos, and do the best you can. The arcade mode is pretty much your standard fare, and just like the Tekken game in the past, you have your sub-bosses that you have to fight. This varies for each character. For example, Law's sub-boss is Beiku Dosan, who's a new character who uses the Taekwondo style. Just like the rest of the game, these bosses are pretty challenging, but once you get the hang of your character and the hang of the mechanics, you'll be perfectly fine. So after your sub-boss, you have to face Kazuya. He's a badass and can certainly take your run for the money, especially if you're in the arcades. However, the big thing with him is you gotta persevere. He's gonna kick your ass a few times. You just have to learn to get back up and keep fighting. Keep putting in those quarters if you're at the arcade, or just keep sitting down and playing. Don't stop. You'll beat him eventually, just keep trying. But once you beat him, it's not over yet. You got one more form to beat him, and that's his devil form. He's a little tougher and he seems cheap at times, but you gotta know you can't stop swinging. You gotta fight. He's gonna beat you a few times just like Kazuya did, but you gotta keep swinging, keep throwing your fists, keep kicking, do what you have to do to win. And now you finally beat him. Enjoy your replay, enjoy your victory, and time to watch the video. So pretty much just like Tekken 1, when you beat the arcade mode you get a video, and as I said previously, these videos are much better than the first one. Not only do they look better, but they also help to flesh out the Tekken universe and each character as well. Just from this video alone, you learn that Law and Paul are pretty good friends. Since the fighting is so damn good, there's a lot of reasons to go back to the arcade mode and play as the other fighters. This game also has a lot of secrets and a lot of unlockables. One of the more famous ones is fighting against Roger/Alex, depending on which palette you get. This comes after satisfying a certain condition. I don't want to tell you what it is, but you can look online, you'll probably find out what it is. Tekken 2 features a pretty hefty set of modes. You can customize the difficulty level, the fight count, the round time, if you want to change your character at the continue screen, guard damage, and how you want to show how the games are won, quick select, and you can also change the background music that you hear. And one of the biggest additions to the modes that should have been in the first game is
Practice mode.
Now here you can pick as a character. Here I got Yotsumitsu, go against another dummy, and you can look at the move list and do some sample combos.
Great.
It's always good to hear positive reinforcement from the announcer. Tekken 2 also has my favorite mode, which is Team Battle mode. Here you can pick up to 8 fighters and go against another team, either the computer or another player of the same amount of team, or you can change it up if you're playing against a player. This is actually really cool because you get to fight against the computer, and this also allows for some unique battles to play out, such as Prototype Jack and Kunimitsu. This doesn't happen in arcade mode, but thanks to the extra modes that Tekken 2 has to offer, you can make these fights possible with the computer. You also have survival mode, which pretty much you have to win as many matches as you can consecutively. It's pretty much an endurance mode where you have to maintain your health during each match. So if you do well enough, you can get your name on the high score. Along with the previous modes mentioned, you also have a time attack mode. However, it's pretty much just like arcade mode, just that you're trying to get the best time possible. Overall, Tekken 2 is a huge improvement over the first one. Everyone's movesets have been expanded, and new characters such as Jun Kazama, Beku Dosan, and many others fit very well with the Tekken cast. While there's no sidestep to truly immerse this game into the 3D world, it's still very good. While most of the modes featured in this game are pretty standard for nowadays, there's still a good amount of replay value. Unlocking new characters and getting through all the story modes is enough to keep me playing. And that's why my final score for the gameplay is a 9 out of 10. There's a lot of fun to be had with this title, and there's a lot of replay value as well. And now it's time for the closing thoughts. Tekken 2 is one of the first fighting games that I've ever played. However, I did my best to separate the facts from nostalgia. Either way, this is still a very enjoyable game. It is leaps and bounds ahead of Tekken 1 in many ways. With all these characters to unlock, cool fighting styles to play as, and just many other things, Tekken 2 is an enjoyable time. And that's why my overall final score is an 8.5 out of 10. If you're looking for a good Tekken for the PS1, this is a very good place to start. And now, we got 2 Tekkens down and 1 to go. Tekken 3 is the last one, and we will certainly end it out with a bang. Considered one of the best games of all time, we are going to take a look at it. But we'll leave that for another day. For now, I hope you enjoyed this review. Support me on Patreon, and this is Pow3rh0use, signing off.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Game over.